a lot of vineyards in Oswego County. Coloca Estates, which is nowhere near that. You're flipping thousands and thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, and thousands of vines, but he's got a nice operation. He's in Oswego County. He's kind of on the edge of,
Fairhaven.
well, he's in Fairhaven, yeah, but the Watkins Glen area, Finger Lakes, that is one growing set. And then when you get to Oswego County, it would become too cold to have the grapes that those guys have. So Mr. Coloca, he was pretty much the border of Finger Lakes versus North Country. I know my friend Bill Davis has a small vineyard around the corner on 29. With Odell, who's in Cayuga County, I think, with a much bigger vineyard. He's Davis Brothers Meats. Bill, they had a vineyard there at the meat store behind the meat factory for years. And then he built the new one. Scriba was the new home, and he's got a little vineyard over there. So that's kind of nice. Other than that, I'm one of the largest because I'm one of the owners. So, and I think the largest vineyard is in Scriba. So,
Manuel here.
Sir,
I want to talk to you tonight about
sir,
what?
so happy Veterans Day. And are there any veterans in the
Any
audience?
veterans here? Well, I'm a veteran, so I'll raise my hand. Okay.
Thank you for your service. Yes.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Van.
Yeah, and
That's Teresa Cooper. She's going to be Vanna White tonight. Once they get her cranked up. And then I'm going to take the mic away from her.
Karaoke as soon as we're done.
Karaoke and wine, there you go. The wine is on the house. I hope you enjoy it. It's a couple of different varieties. It's made by Coyote Moon up in Clayton, up by the St. Lawrence Seaway. You can see the bridge from their winery. And they use my grapes for those particular wines if you're drinking tonight. Because you know there's thousands of varieties, but those are what I have. So when we start the show, you're going to see us breaking ground right from the beginning. And like I said, it'll take you all the way through the harvest. So, everybody here? Everybody? Okay, good.
so what's Cody?
Why grapes? I don't know. Why not? Why me? I don't know. Why not?
Do you have the remote?
I work for the city fire, and we used to go to Montour Falls, which is in Great Lake, or Lakes, Finger Lakes, down around Watkins Glen, and I used to drive through there and we'd see the beautiful vineyards, row after row, perfectly grown, everything perfect. And it looked so pretty, and there was just like thousands of those vines, and there's like 400 wineries. So I'm thinking, no, that looks pretty nice. I don't know how they do that, but that might look nice in my house. So that's what I got the idea. Strawberries was out, it's too seasonal. Too much rock in Scriba, although they grow great strawberries here. I don't know if you're familiar with Scriba rock. If you dig a hole and it's a 2-foot rock, you need 10 foot of soil to put back in the hole. That's but I'm fortunate. A lot of sandy soil in my farm, so it worked out pretty good. Every time we hit a rocky area, we just detour around it. So some of the rows are longer than the others. That's because of the rock.
I'm assuming.
So that's why I picked the vineyard stuff instead of corn or any of those things. With a other look, and I wanted to bring it to my new house that I had just bought on County Route 1. And I had visions of that being the same look. And as it turned out, it is. If you've been by there, we keep them neat, we keep them trimmed, we keep them mowed, we keep them pruned, we do the best we can.
Try to get into.
The we is me, by the way. So,
Monitor.
I don't know a lot about grapes, but I can tell you a little bit about grapevines. Archaeologists believe it started 8,000 years ago in Europe, Greece, Italy, the Roman Empire. And the Romans, as they conquered the world, they brought the grapevines with them. And that's why they planted them everywhere they went. And that's how they got out of Europe and into the rest of the world. The Bible first mentions grapevines when Noah planted the first ones after the flood, which marked the return of agriculture and the restoration of the earth. The early settlers brought these European vines in when they came across to the New World. They brought them with them, and they planted them here in America. And that's how they got here. Before, they're wild, you got any wild grapes in your backyard, you know they're tough. You can't kill them, they just keep coming back. And that's because they're tough. They know the climate, they know the weather, and they live and they survive it. So, not so much for the European grapes. they couldn't take the cold, they couldn't take the different climates. So, like anything else, the Americans figured it out. You just marry them together, graft them with the Europe grape and the American grape, and there you go. A really nice grapevine that can live in this country. There's thousands of grapevines, thousands of grapes, thousands of species. There's so many different ones. Local history says a man named Asa Rice planted the first vines in Oswego town in 1829. Now, if that's what the people in Oswego town did, but can you really believe them? You know,
I do.
well, that's because you served. So that's where the first vines came to Oswego County.
Okay, we got the solution.
Like I said, the Americans as soon find out the European grapes would struggle, but if you work at it and you match the two together, you come up with something that could live here, even in Oswego County. That's where science always comes into it, ingenuity and science. All right, we're gonna talk about grapevines, and I want to talk about grapes. I'll tell you everything I know about grapes. It's not much. There's reds and there's whites. I don't care what they tell you. There's reds and there's whites. Different varieties of reds, different varieties of whites, and then the rosé is half and half. So, but they're red and white grapes. And the white grapes aren't white, so I'll figure that out. They're green actually, green and gold and bronze. But that's the two different take it. So, if there's any wine snobs here, I can't help it. You probably know more about it than I do because I don't even drink wine. But just remember reds and whites. So when somebody says reds or white, you can answer them. Thousands of varieties from everywhere in the world. The ones in Europe they call vinifera.
Isn't that?
That's the title of them.
Oh, no, you're.
There's North and South America has their own types. Middle East, Spain, Portugal, Australia. Anywhere you go, there are grapevines. I also know that 99% of wine is grape wine. There's apple wine right down the street. There's strawberry wine. There's 1,000 wines, but bing. I thought I was to the ninth.
Figure out how to do this, so.
Okay.
We'll shorten up this egg. Okay, here we go. 99% of wine is grape wine. I don't care what they tell you. The heraldists would say it's all about apple wine, but they own a big vineyard now in the Finger Lakes, and that's grapes and not apples. I do know that. So, reds are 75% of the market. Pinot Noir, Merlots, you know, the wine snobs all do the reds, and the Italians love the reds. They have it every night. That's what makes it a big seller. It's true.
There again.
It's good because 90% of my grapes are the reds. They told me what would sell, and that's what I grew. They also told me you couldn't plant Riesling European grapes on my farm because it's too far from the good weather. Wow. What do they know? I planted 100 of them. First year they were perfect, and I'm smiling. What do you guys know? I've been here 2 years and I know more about it. Well, guess what? The next year they all died, all but 2. You can see that field, 2 live and 8 dead. That's when I said, maybe I should listen to these people. I never really listened to anybody, but I started right that day. I want to talk about Cornell University. They're really a big help to all the vineyards, the ones in the Finger Lakes and us up north. We can send our soils there, they do the testing. We can send the leaves there, they do the testing. They've got all kinds of new ideas about fertilizer and stuff, and they're very helpful. You have to pay them, but they're helpful. They really know their business. They even have classes where you can become a vintner and an expert in wine through University of Cornell.
Excuse me.
And thank you, Ben.
Well, I'm just saying.
Well, here we go. We're gonna get
Could
started here.
coordinate your discussion.
We call this the story, and it is a story.
So where do you want to start?
Right here.
Beginning.
Plowing the fields. There's a field behind it that was already a year old, but this is gonna be the 2nd acre, and start right at the beginning. Just disc and drag, disc and drag, disc and drag. I didn't have a tractor with a plow, I didn't have a disc, so around the corner, an old guy named Charlie, I don't even think of his last name now. He was a painter at Ken's Body Shop, but what's his name? Heinz, Charlie Heinz. Charlie did all of the plowing and the disking for me, because he was able to drive right around the corner. He's over in 29, so he started there.
Oops, we're on the sink.
That's okay. That's what they look like when I buy them. They come, they're a year old. They come wrapped in groups of 25. Those roots are going to be stuffed into a small hole, and we just we drill the hole a foot deep. 6 inches of it is just for fluffing it up to loosen the soil, and the other 6 inches we're going to pack around the roots. But that's what they look like. They come from a large greenhouse out in Buffalo area, and they have every variety. I picked these because they're the ones for the North Country, and they send them in they're wrapped in wet newspaper because you've got to get them in the ground within a couple of weeks from the time they ship them.
We're a little bit out of,
Well,
so,
that's okay, same farm. This is my friend John. She's a fireman from the city who comes out, helps us once in a while. He's spraying before we learned about a power sprayer, we did it with a backpack, 5 gallons at a time. And then John wasn't my friend anymore. But that's what he's doing. Those are the baby plants, so that's their first year. That's how much they grow. You'll see that the rows are all in line. This is we're out of sync here.
we're way out of sync.
This is early spring when we haven't had a chance to mow or do anything. The plants are still dormant. You don't see any leaves on them. And what we've done is trimmed or pruned. All of that junk you see in the middle is dead. That's the dead leaves, or not dead vines that we cut off from the previous year. We just take it, we burn it. We don't want it. It could be diseased or whatever. It's no good. We want to cut them down to what you see, and they're pretty big, and we take them right down to nothing. You're going to see they're all on the same wire. They're all at the 30-inch wire, and we train those vines to stay there. We tie them there. We strap them there. They like to go up like a beanstalk. It's the same farm. Look at all the cars.
Oh,
No,
we're at the end of the season.
Yeah.
What if you go all the way back to the beginning?
We gotta
Okay, we're gonna try to go
Well,
back.
there we go.
I don't understand why they're so icy.
All right, established 2009. You know what I'm gonna tell you why I call South Fork. Funny you should ask.
So well.
Most of you are old enough to remember the TV series Dallas. And in Dallas, they had obviously a big ranch. And when you came down the driveway at the beginning of the show, the fences were all white and there was miles of white fence. And that's pretty much what I have now if you come down my driveway. And I said, it reminds me of Dallas, TV series. So I call it South Fork. There's a hard-working man right there. Look at that guy. He's the lowest paid guy on the farm. Picking up trimmings, junk, getting ready. We burn a lot of that stuff. We follow burning regulations though. This is where we started. The fields were just grown up so much we had to do brush hogs just to kill, to get back to the lawn. Fences needed a paint. That's what it looked like. That's what my farm looked like. You could hardly see the white fences. You could see the tall grass. We brought in brush hogs and actually butchered everything and we wound up with lawns. That was a lot of work. Took 2 years. That's what you were looking at a few minutes ago. That's what it looked like before we got to it. A lot of work. This is what it looked like. The old house belonged to the family who lived there for many, many years. It was a dairy farm. And then the owners that purchased it, I got to talk about him. There's some city help. We go to Scriba City, get some help once in a while. I said, paint the fence. He goes, what fence? Well, he's doing a nice job. And what a difference a little scraping and paint does. What a difference, you know what I mean? There we are again, mowing, painting, getting the place looking good. We had no visions of a vineyard at the time. None, absolutely none. That came later. All right, that's what we got those fields to look like that after a while. We'll paint here and there. Place is starting to look good. That's when I decided, you know what it really needs? It needs a vineyard. What a retard I was. Sorry, I shouldn't use that word. What a dummy I was. But the place
Where's the
looks
hook,
nice.
Kathy?
Shut it down, right? Okay, Vanna. So, there we go. Kathy Joya made the sign for me. You guys probably knew Kathy Joya. Well, she made the sign for me, and a couple of wine barrels that somebody gave me, and a couple of some flowers, and there we are. There's the house. That's the, at the end of the road, that's what you see. And that needed a paint job badly when I bought it. Fifth and Bridge, I didn't steal the sign from the city of Oswego. I backed into it with my truck and the mayor made me pay for it. And I did, my insurance covered it, but it was all in pieces. And I said, where are you going with that pieces? And the DPW guy goes, junkyard. I go, books it. I paid for it, I want it. So a friend of mine was able to weld it all back together. DPW guys were kind enough to drop off the signs, they found them somewhere. And they're set to corner of East Fifth and Bridge.
Significant why?
Significant. Why? Because I ran into it. Hey,
Your business was
it
able?
does my business.
Okay.
Every ranch needs a pond, so we have a nice pond full of bass. You're all welcome to come over sometime. You don't need a license there either.
I don't know her.
The flag always was right there from the beginning. We had to have the flag, so that's what we wound up with.
We have no other picture, but
And no other pictures.
I could say that at the end of the table over there, there's many.
Hey, here we go.
Okay, there's more.
There's 100 more. This is early spring. This is this is April. This is a friend of mine, Randy Hell, who now takes care of this big vineyard over in Beeville. It's brand new, Sterigo or something. But that's not a Oswego County, so I didn't count them. He used to work for Cloca, and then I got him to do the pruning for me when he wasn't busy. He's taken them from right down to nothing. And as you can see, you see in the front row, those grapes were tall until he gutted them, basically. And then I go behind him and I tie them to the wires. You're gonna see the wires at 30 inches, 45 inches, 60 inches. The trick is to make them burrow between the wires and go straight up instead of laying down on the field and crawling across the driveway.
So you train them
I
horizontally?
train them for that.
Okay.
We train them, we cut them and train them and tie them down so they can't. All the grapes will be on that wire when we go to pick them. If not, you'd be picking here, trying to find them here. We put them there, the trains stay right there, we tie them there. And then the next season, we cut up everything that was above that, we cut off and start over. So that's a big job. That's what they look like before we cut them. We're kind of skipping around here, but there's a lot of trim and there's a lot of brush when we're done. It's like apple orchards, there's a lot of trim and pruning. Even in the off season when you can't burn anything, you can burn pruning. You can burn apple prunings, grape prunings
How far do you know how to prune them down? How far down?
to the 30-inch level.
30?
Yeah.
And what do you use to cut those?
How do we used to cut those? They're called cordless hedge trimmers.
Okay.
And we have a number of them. It takes a lot of work to trim. These are the guys that are picking grapes with it a little early. We're not ready yet here. So,
They look like vehicles to me.
are we all done? Come on, give us some pops. Oh, boy. Keep going back to that stupid sign.
Is there anything that you do during the wintertime, Doug?
Well, we go skiing. What do I do in the wintertime? Last week, I closed the barn for the winter. Done, everything put away, crates washed, tractors serviced. We're ready to go for next year. I get all of November off, and then in December, we start the early pruning. And then in January, February, we do the serious pruning, even in the snow. It's way steep most of the time, but they're dormant, there's no leaves on, they're sleeping, it's a good time to cut them. You don't hurt the plant because they are dormant. So, I guess the show's over unless you girls get some pictures up here.
We don't know where the pictures are, but all
I'll keep
the,
talking anyways.
oh, yes.
Oh, they're on this big one.
That's what the wine's for.
Go back to
The
your,
wine's on me.
go back to the,
That wine, by the way, is made by Coyote Moon up in Alex Bay, or
back, look at your,
Clayton, New York.
or how under.
And it's, like I said, they have the same grapes that I do. They're real estate guys from California who retired in California and decided they want to have a winery. They're Italians.
I want the root.
That's the first thing an Italian wants is a winery. Second is he wants the wine. Third, he sells a winery, and it was Florida. It was got to be ever after. But
Goat can find her.
so they found out that they could buy a dairy farm in Clayton for 288 acres for the price of 1 acre of land in California.
And
So that's what brought them to New York.
drives.
And they've been there 15 years now, and they're for sale. I saw it on Facebook. They're for sale now.
Down.
I guess they've made their money and they're moving back
And
home.
my contract.
The dad died.
They're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It's a family business. They're all brother-in-laws, son-in-laws,
You mix group.
and they worked hard to build a really nice winery up there. So that's what you're drinking tonight. The reds and whites are what I grow, and they use that, my grapes for those wines.
Do you have any plans on expanding?
Thank you for asking. No. I spend all day, unless days become 28 hours, no, I don't have time. You can't afford to hire help.
Each group is in there by its own.
If I had 10 kids, 9 of them wouldn't have done it. They wouldn't, I would, maybe had 1. I had 2 of them, and they both moved out. They didn't want anything to do with the vineyard. It's a lot of work. They know it's a lot of work. You either gotta be really big or,
Familiar with the setup that we have.
go big or go home, that's what they say. So no, I don't. I'm maintaining 3 acres, 2,593 plants, but who's counting? You know, every year I trim them, babysit them,
I'm going home.
prune them. I do all this stuff. You're not going home yet, John.
Do you have any, do you ever lose any? I mean, a certain.
Children? No, I haven't lost them.
That's because you take
Grapes?
care of the grapes.
I usually lose maybe 10 or 15 plants a year or so. In the 15 years, 12 years I've been doing, I've lost 100 plants. But that's not bad. The percentage is really good. I can't think of anything else you could get that kind of percentage.
It's just a difference.
What about the ones that
That my
aren't
followers
bound?
You have to be 18 to ask a question. What about what?
What about the ones that we got that they told
All I did was
Those would
click on the
grow
first
good.
picture. And
The other 2 died. They all died. They just died. And then the other 2 died too.
How many Rhinies do you have?
bump out of that one.
What do you should have?
Red,
I have
no,
6.
it's red and white.
Red and white. I have 6 total. 5 of the varieties are reds
All right.
and 1 is whites. Because that's the market. Any flavor.
Okay, so
Ribbon ear rate
raised
does it
red,
back
aren't
to
there?
year.
1,000 and 2,000, 10,000 each.
Each one.
You don't know them, Zaz.
Each folder's.
If I don't know the answer, I'll make something up.
I know you will.
Unless you know better, you gotta believe it.
Not at all.
So
Do you ever have any animal damage? Any animal damage?
Animal damage. We don't hurt animals, sir. Oh, do they damage the crop? How, wanna talk about pests? All right, let's talk about pests. Grapevines have a number of things that want to kill them. The deer only eat the leaves in the early spring when they can't find any grass. They will eat from the end of the row because they're afraid to walk down the row, because they're afraid they're being trapped. So the deer are not a problem. I planted them inside the pastures to keep the deer away, and they just walk through anyway, so they just jump through you can't keep a deer out. They're not a problem. Beetles are a problem. Grape moths are a problem. There's 100 different insects. Even bees are a problem. So it's constantly something new. It's not an insect. It's a disease. It's phylloxera kills grapevines. Mildew, downy mildew, all kinds of things you need to spray the plants for. We spray them. I think if you knew what these vines were sprayed with, you probably would drink some wine. But it costs you, the guys that make the wine, make sure that it's clean. But that's what is always something. But animals, birds are the killers. The first year, I didn't put nets on. I knew better. I knew everything. I still knew. But that day I didn't. 3 days later, all the grapes were gone. And I called the guys at the winery. I said, "What's going on? What happened?" Well, you put the nets on, right? I go, "Well, put the nets on." I go, "No." He goes, "Hey, next year put the nets on." Because the birds know when they're ripe. They won't touch a grape till it's absolutely ripe. But when they know it's ripe, they tell their friends. And thousands of birds come, and you gotta put nets over them to keep them out. That's the other reason we put them on a straight row, is we can cover a straight row. Oh, look, we're back. Hey, that's after Mr. Himes got us all filed in disc up there. And the guys are, there's Ken Atkins. You know Ken Atkins? Ken Atkins is there. He was, I think he thought he was in charge. But, we're building a grid system. We do it string, obviously. The rows are 10 feet apart exactly. The plants are 5 feet apart exactly. Everything is done with stakes, and then we do the grid system. That's my friend John, again, from the fire department. He's laughing because he called in sick that day. But anyway, it's a lot of work to do the grid system. There's my nephew Greg. He's a good helper. He doesn't charge me. So that's what it takes to do the grid system, because you're going to be drilling holes, and you can't just be drilling them all over the place, because there won't be a straight line, and they won't look like they do in the Finger Lakes, and you won't be able to mow in between the rows and clean between the plants unless they're exactly the same. So, okay, no, there go. Sound for the grid system?
Do you want the mouse?
Here we go, more grid system. Post, there's 800, look at that hard working tool. 898 posts. I know. They're 8 foot long, 2 foot in the ground, 6 foot out of the ground. And we had to drill holes to get them in the ground. So everything was done precisely the same. We started out with a tractor with a drill like that. Wow. We were doing about 30 holes a day. So we changed over to that. Mr. Dement was kind enough to rent me at a high price that drill. And we were doing 30 an hour with that, so it worked out really good. We were doing about 300 or 400 a day, and it's self-propelled. There's John again. Good thing the mayor didn't see these. So he's drilling the holes. It takes just like butter. That thing is just. We had a marker that stopped at the 2 foot section. There's the holes ready for me to plant the vines in. I personally planted every vine there. There's the holes. There we go. We're still working. We're building a vineyard. Takes a while. A lot of work. A friend of mine phoned me and said, "Hey, what do you think about building a vineyard?" I go, "Don't." That was all I told him. Unless you want a lot of work. So,
Bill.
man, there
I
you go.
called them in the garden.
Sir,
Is that awful dirty? It's an awful stony.
no. My farm is mostly sand. And we were able to drill these. If it was stony, we'd still be drilling. Because we hit a section that was total stone. We just pulled right out of the whole field because there was stone everywhere. It'd take you an hour to get a hole, so we gave up on that. There's plenty of room there. I got 50 acres. We found plenty of sand in those sand. You probably guys remember Fall Hammond. He had all the mums, and his farm is all sand. I almost bought that farm. I'm glad it did. So that's what it looks like from getting ready to drill.
Excuse me, but we're trying.
Okay.
Next up.
I'm sure this is better listening than me, but anyway.
Is there a preference to, what kind of wood you use?
What's that?
Is there a preference to the wood that you use for your stakes?
When,
No, everything came from
which was that one?
Tractor Supply.
Oh, you're almost started.
They had lots of posts. I had to go to Tractor Supply and fold in the Central Square, Blask High, but because we were buying 100 a day and they didn't have that many. But they were good. The price was okay. I tried to buy locally, but nobody had them, and I wanted them all to be the same size. You want unity. Oh, look at that! They're growing. That's early, probably May or June. You can see by the trees. There's my friend John. He skipped work again. We have golf carts instead of burros. They're faster. We could have watched John trim those bushes for a minute, but there we go. Guess what? Roses. Who would have thought? What do you think the roses are for? Funny you should ask. I'm gonna tell you. June beetles will hit the rose plants first. So when you look at your rose bushes, if they're starting to get beetles on, you better get ready for the June beetles to get to the vines. So we start spraying right then, as soon as we see them on the roses. That is not a Halloween costume. We keeps the birds out a little bit. They don't like things like that. It scares them, actually. It scares them away. So we used them, but they were blowing off the thing, and couldn't find them on a windy day. There's bushes that need trimming, all right?
From the time that you put them in the ground when they're very new, how long before they actually produce grapes?
2 years.
2 years?
And not a lot, but they'll be producing in 2 years. Then third year you can harvest. That's me on a load of nets, getting ready to put the nets on. There's the nets. We put them on in July, August. Get them on quick because the birds start looking those grapes over around early September. I don't know what that is other than a bad picture.
It's a close-up.
Oh, a close-up of the nuts? Thank you, man. Okay. More vines. They're starting to, get them trimmed up a little bit. They're not as shaggy as they were. There's where the net's down. That's the other reason we put them all on one line so we can keep them covered. That's Saudi Arabia. Bear with me. Hey,
End of season.
end of the season. There we are, cleaning up the mess. There's so much brush. All those nice vines get chopped up, and there's no use for them. There's nothing you can do with them, other than burn them. Again, training them. You go up through the wires. You see, there's a wire on each side. So there's a path for them to go up, and then they go to the next, and then before they get a chance to bend over, they go to the next one. So we just can't keep them going straight off. Then when they get to the top, there's nothing to keep them going, so then they kind of flop over like an umbrella. And that's when we come through with the cordless trimmers and we cut the ends off. That's like April. You see the 30, 45, and 60-inch wires. There's 16 miles of wire there. I know it's hard to believe, which is true. 16 miles of wire. There's 100, well, actually it was 89 rows. Some of them were 200 feet long, some are 100 feet long. You bend it around in the soil. If we get a rat again.
How much of the plant actually produces grapes? How many,
They would be 10 feet high if you let them be, but we only need them to be 6 feet high.
6 feet?
It forms a canopy. It's like an umbrella. Keep it trimmed, keep it neat, because you cut off that excess. The roots can only supply so many grapes with energy. So the other 3 feet on top we don't need. We get rid of it.
Is there an average per plant?
Are you with the IRS?
Ask Mike, Crystal.
People are gonna ask me, once we get pictures by,
Okay.
it's okay. Is there a percentage per plant?
The average plant, the hope is it'll produce 8 pounds of grapes. All right, that's with the order. I've had some do 10 pounds. I've had some do 2 pounds. And they're so individual, but as a group, you look for 8 pounds per plant. And it takes 3 pounds to make a bottle of wine, 3 pounds of grapes. So that's the story on that. I'll talk about dollars. Let me tell you something. A bottle of wine is $25. All right, it'll make the winery will get $23.50, and I get $1.50. That's what it's based on. 50 cents a pound they pay me, and they get the $23.50. But they earn it. They got their billions of dollars invested. I don't. Well, I do. Can you go back to where you were picking grapes there? That's my friend Dan Brown. He works for me 2 days a week. He's 75 years old. You never know him. He's miserable, but he's not lazy. And he drives, he lives at Brennan Beach all summer, and that's how I get it to work for me all summer. And then he goes back to the city of Syracuse in October, and that's when he leaves me, and I don't need him after that anyway. So, great relationship. I need him, he don't need me. He tells me that. But he's the slowest grape picker I've ever had. But he wants to be part of the deal. Bob Wincheck, National Grid worker. He comes out because he wants to get exercise. And he's a good man. He fixed for free. But he enjoys it. He enjoys being out, and it's a couple of days. I'm not going to tell you about my friend here. He did 25 years in prison, Joliet, Illinois. I met him. He was a steam fitter at the plant. He got in a little trouble.
Don't tell a story.
I'm not going to tell a story. He wound up in prison 25 to 34 years. He got out at 25, and he came back just to visit me. And he spent a couple of days picking grapes. That's my brother Steve on the top row. He knows, he's a Crouse. He knows everything. He won't sit on the kale. That's for weaklings. At the end of the day, he can't walk. Now, the prison guy knows that sit on the pail. That's why we set the grapes at the 30-inch level. It's more comfortable to pick at that level instead of standing and trying to reach over. So there's a reason for everything, most everything I do. We have a little lunch. We serve lunch for the guys who are picking. Usually is 12, 14 people, somewhere in there. I use some of the kids that are of Spanish descent from Hamilton Homes, and they're good help. They really are. They know I don't speak Spanish, okay? But my son does. So he said, you won't believe some of the things they're saying, but he said, or speak to them in Spanish and tell them I speak Spanish, and then they shut right up. They're a lot of fun. We can't say any more about paying them, but they're good help, and they come every year for me. And now they're getting to they were 16 or 7. Now they're 23, 24. They still come. And we had a lot of fun with them. We use the pails and the crates, obviously. The pails, you sit on a pail, you have one next to you to put the grapes in, and then down through, somebody will come through with a golf cart, pick them up, and dump them in those crates. We used to ship them in the crates, and that was too much work, so I bought some bigger crates. But that's what we do, put enough at the end of the row for whoever's working that row will come down at the end and get their own grapes, and then we'll pick them out. But it's 2 days in October. You pick till dark, you ship them in the morning. They have to be shipped the same day, within 24 hours. They can't sit around. And then the second day we finish up. So it's kind of a zoo. We like it, it's fun, it's hard work. At the end of the 2 days, they get paid. They come to the truck in the pay window, and they get a bottle of wine if they're over 18, and a T-shirt, and we feed them pizza and chicken dinners, whatever. But that's what the reds look like. They look more like purple or blue. Those are all reds, and they're on their way the next morning to go to Clayton for us. This is the end of the season. Look at that. We use the bigger crates after a while. I figured out a lot easier. So we dump the little crates in the big crates, blah, 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 blah. But they hold 1,000 pounds each, and we try to get 20 of those. 20,000 pounds is what we're looking for. And then, somebody has to clean up the mouse. You gotta put everything away. You gotta clean it before you put it away. We fight with the bees a lot. The bees are out that time of the year, and I make them wear the plastic gloves so they don't get stung when they're working. How we doing with the fly show, man?
I think we're gonna have, one more.
One more? Well, that's my friend. We started with him.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
Let's call it a wrap.
Well, we've seen the harvest. We see him grow. You see just about everything.
Does the winery prefer,
Are you in the IRS?
yeah,
Okay.
prefer what kind of crates that you bring them in, or?
They want, no, because they're gonna dump them in their big stainless steel vats, which hold thousands of
Oh,
pounds.
yeah, this is a good picture of.
There's early spring, we got them tied down, look at the little blossoms coming out, guess what, they're all in a straight row. There's usually 24 blossoms per plant, 12 on each side if you did it right, 12 right, 12 left. And then as they grow and they start to blossom, you knock some of them off. You knock them down to 8 right, 8 left, because those roots can't, those roots can supply 24 clusters. They can only supply 16.
Oh,
So
wow, this one.
you want bigger grapes, you want bigger crop, cut some, what do they call that? Kill some to save some, collateral damage. I guess, I don't know. That's my man. I gotta tell you how I hired him. I heard he was working out Kaluka's place. And I went out there in February, standing there. He got a knit hat on, snow and ball, and snow wheel suit. I said, hey, excuse me, I have a little vineyard of my own. Is there any way I could get you to prune my grapes? He goes, no, sir, I work for Mr. Kaluka, and I'm here all week long, so, I really don't want to work 7 days a week. I work 5 for them. I go, oh, really? That's too bad. How much does Mr. Kaluka pay you? He said, $10 an hour. I go, really? How about $20 an hour? I said, I'll see you tomorrow. And that's why I met him, and that's how he came to work for me. And I managed to get him the job as the head cook and bottle washer in charge of the old vineyard, the new one in Baldwinsville. Because I gave a good recommendation to Mr. Marbio Ponsuego, and he got the job, and he gets $30 an hour, and he gets Blue Cross and Blue Shield for his family, and he gets paid vacations. So he still comes and prunes for me. So that's how I know the young man. Good man. He knows his grape stuff. Okay, red books. We had 89 rows, 2,593 lines, 16 miles of wire, 4 miles of net. How do I know that? Put 'em on. I got to tell you one last thing about wineries, grapevines. I asked the man and played. Now he's a millionaire, whatever, but hardworking family from California. I said, "Tell me, sir, how do you wind up with $1 million in the wine business? So you start with $4 million." That's what he put. Well, I hope you enjoyed the show tonight. Thanks to Jerry Maher. Thanks to John Darling, Kathy Niemeyer, Lee, and all of the members of the Historical Society. Thanks for inviting me. Thanks to Tom Spiva for use of the building. Thank you, our supervisor. And thanks to my dear friend Cooper, who knows everything.
We'll have some fun new things next year.
Yeah, we're gonna do a better show next year. We're gonna do a drone show. We're gonna do a little bit more of.
You invited back already?
What?
We invited back already?
Yep.
So enjoy the wine. The wine is, have a glass of wine before you go, or got red, we got white. Red is served dry, or warm, by the way, room temperature, if you didn't know that. And the white is served chilled, and we tried to do that tonight. So, that's it, that's the show, I hope you liked it.
Any questions?
Questions?
Questions.
Okay, we're all done. One quick, I've got a question. If I don't have the answer, I'll make something up. That's what I do across the street.
2 questions, actually. You prune them in the fall, in the winter.
And they go dormant. Why do you have to do them in the spring?
We don't prune them in the fall. We just let them go dormant
just-
and let the leaves fall off, and we know they're dead. We know they're sleeping.
I thought they.
By December, they're dormant.
Got it.
And then
Trimming in the.
we trim them we don't want to mess with those leaves.
Second question.
It's hard enough.
Do geese like green?
Geese! Funny you should mention geese. I never had a problem with geese. I mean, I always had a problem with geese. I got a pond in Scriba, New York. It's halfway home to Florida, wherever we're going. I'll maybe halfway home. But anyway, I have geese all the time. But I went away for a week this year. And while I was gone, the geese came. And I didn't have the nets on yet. And in the 5 days that I was gone, they ate 80% of the crop. And I could see them on the spy camera, that they were like hundreds of them walking down the rows just eating the grapes. It's because they're tall enough to reach the 30-inch line. You know, if they were up higher, they couldn't have reached.
And you could see them and you couldn't join it.
I couldn't do anything about it, you know,
Yeah.
so.
You could.
People say I could use those guns, the guns that go off in the middle of the night. Well, I don't think the neighbors would like it from garden knowledge. But I wasn't ready. They came early this year. Crop came early this year. We wound up with very little crop at all. But that's farming. That's what they say. I see some farmers here. That's what it's all about. A good year, bad year. You just hope for more good years than you do bad years. So you're welcome. Come out sometime. I would come like in May and June when everything's green and we got everything mowed. And I wanted to show you some pictures of the guys spraying chemicals with suits on.
I think there are some of those back here.
Yeah, you know, you take a look to see what we counted.
And I saw, he took me on it.
Please help yourself.
Your minutes.
Teresa made up an assortment of cheeses and
You have
got plenty of wine.
Sweets.
If you're not sure what you like, have a glass of each. Just don't let Kelly anymore.
Don't tell the Jew.
We got permission from the town attorney to do this, so. Any other questions?
No,
You know what I heard about those geese? If you set off firecrackers, they don't come back. So you might want to put that in your breed for.
I might want to be at home when they come, because last year I'm out of town, the first
Yeah.
day you done the work. It's just they came early. And the
Well,
season.
they're here all year long. They don't go anywhere.
Here's the secret to that. You shoot one and leave it in the pond. They get the hint. Am I right, Glenn? Glen Parkers will tell you that. That's the way you kill one. I have a permit to kill up to 7 a day. We don't need to kill 7. We try not to kill any.
Just don't go.
Once in a while, when you get 50 or 100 of them,
There's too many geese everywhere. Everybody's delaying around where those are horses, everything.
once in a while,
They
our
kill too much and no
collateral damage just as they go.
We have them in our pond, and they drive me
Any other
crazy.
questions? How about some wine? I got a pretty girl back there ready for it. And the band is there too. Got a bow, got lots more too. Have some, please.
Cheese and crackers for the.
The, Mac?